So last week the internet was blessed with a bunch of game showcases, and I figured now might be a good time to share my thoughts on these trailers, if nothing other than just to get an idea of which games might be worth checking out. Now I've devised 4 categories on my scale, but obviously these are only early impressions, so please take it with a grain of salt, as I'm sure we're gonna get a lot more information about these games closer to release.
Something's going on.
Another Call of Duty game, huh? Is it that time of the year already? Well, I'm pretty sure we all know what to expect from these type of games. Linear levels with some decent gunplay, or in the service of a dull story filled with one-dimensional characters. I'm not sure why Microsoft would start their showcase with this game, but maybe they're just as tired of this franchise as I am and want to get it out of the way with. Okay, a new Doom game. I mean, that's no surprise given the success of its 2 previous titles, which I did play and both enjoyed. That being said, it's obvious that Bethesda is sticking to the same formula, and I'm not seeing anything in this trailer that leads me to think otherwise. Now, of course, the gameplay in this trailer looks perfectly fine, but I do feel like we've hit the point of diminishing returns here. Okay, so games like State of Decay operates on a completely different wavelength to me. Like, I personally prefer zombie horrors to be more about being trapped inside with others and realizing that there isn't enough food or water for everyone. Like, zombies themselves are a secondary threat as opposed to the armed people you're trapped with who may turn on you when you least expect. You just don't get that kind of an experience from a game like this where it's all about shooting large hordes of zombies, but obviously these type of games do appeal to their fans. I mean, just look at Left 4 Dead for example. Shame it's really not a game for me though.
What are you thinking?
We need someone to be our eyes and ears in the shadows.
And someone to bring a little darkness to the daylight.
Okay, so there's obviously quite a lot riding on this game for BioWare, and already I'm getting some pretty bad vibes. So just to explain, the early Dragon Age titles were all dark fantasy games, and there was a fair amount of concern when we got news that the lead writers have all but left BioWare. I think seeing this trailer has now validated those concerns, as it's pretty obvious that the team is going for a more Critical Role style light-hearted Dungeons & Dragons cast, where all the hateful rhetoric, social discrimination, and politics in general have been stripped out to make way for an all-friendly cast who gets along with each other and who all has 1 or 2 personality quirks. Now, this is a big problem for any Dragon Age fan who was hoping for a dark fantasy story, because you need the politics to establish conflict, both within the world and among your party members. That way, the protagonist can act as an ambassador to all these rumbling factions by learning about their grievances and finding a way to resolve them in the 3rd act. Like, I look at this trailer and straight away I can tell that these writers are gonna have a hell of a time setting up any meaningful conflict diet between the main cast. Like, if all of this ends up being just another we need to stop a big bad guy before he destroys the world, then I'm pretty sure we can write off BioWare as a competent developer going forward. Hope I'm wrong, but these are definitely worrying early impressions.
Hold very still and choose your words carefully.
So I had as much confidence in Starfield as I did in Bethesda's ability to write science fiction, which is to say none at all. And considering some of the feedback from people who actually did play Starfield, I have even less confidence in the sequel. Like, you guys aren't stupid, you know what to expect. It's just going to be another Bethesda sandbox with no meaningful RPG choices, as your only options are going to be, yes sir, I'll do it right away, or sure, I'll do it later.
We've got operators standing by and... Oh.
Yeah, I'm not gonna waste time with this game. If you're someone who likes playing sandboxes, then this is for you. But I got better things to do than build settlements from Bethesda junk.
Every year she paints again. And every year, an expedition departs for the continent with one hopeless mission. Destroy the paintress, so she can never paint death.
Well, it's certainly quite the visual spectacle, going for a bleak fantasy setting, I guess. Shame I couldn't make much sense of the story based off the trailer. I've also never heard of this developer, so chances are this might be their first game. As for the gameplay and writing, well, it's a JRPG game, so I'm guessing turn-based combat from excessive menus and a very abstract story that either comes across as a work of art or a complete joke. Still, I give this game a chance at least. Okay, I'll spend a bit more time dissecting this one, as I remember last year this was the only game that didn't show a proof of concept, so hopefully this time around they'll pick up on the slack.
Alright, time to find that church.
Well, the combat looks a little dull, to be honest. It doesn't have the finesse of like a Souls game or the spectacle of a God of War style hack and slash, so yeah, definitely underwhelming in that department. Hopefully it's not just mashing 1 or 2 buttons, cause that will get boring real fast. I'm guessing the flight is just for those key areas, cause otherwise the level designers are gonna have a headache trying to put invisible walls everywhere to stop the players from just flying over the level. I'm also not getting anything of substance from the writing, like the characters are just exchanging light banter at the moment, so I'm not sure what kind of story they're even trying to tell here. Like, is this a revenge story or like a rescue mission? Like, what's going on? The animation, on the other hand, can definitely win over some people, though I should point out that stop motion in CGI is nowhere near as impressive as with Clay. Like, with CG, all you need to do is lower the frame rate and add in some extra keyframes. And given how this is Compulsion Games, who has a track record of poor technical skills, you do have to wonder if this art style was chosen on purpose or just there to hide any stuttering from the engine.
While new hope blooms on the horizon, the final battle draws near. Now.
This has got to be one of the laziest trailers I've ever seen. They literally just edited a bunch of old cinematics together and threw in a voiceover with no clear story thread. Of course, all the WoW veterans already know that from a narrative point of view, Blizzard has basically written themselves into a hole and are just constantly kicking the story can down the road to harvest as much money from whales as possible.
The Ask in the Soviet mountains. Ensure the safety of Sokolov and bring him back to the west. Your codename for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on.
Oh, for God's sakes. Like, I knew the writing from Metal Gear Solid games had always been headache-inducing, but I mostly attributed that to Kojima just being socially awkward and on some kind of medication. Well, turns out Konami is no better at this, so either they're just ripping off from Kojima's Cliff Notes, or they had started taking the same crazy pills as he did. Still, I will say that the gameplay at least looks somewhat comparable to MGS5. I can't promise you that Konami won't start charging you money for save slots or something, but just looking at the trailer alone, I'd say that if you can muddle your way through the nonsense that was the Phantom Pain, then you'll probably end up liking this as well. Well, I mean, this looks like it's just more of the same content, right? I mean, sure, if you can get a bunch of friends together, you can definitely have some fun with it, but this is definitely not my kind of game, as I prefer more story-driven games.
Your kind meddled where you shouldn't. As long as U is free, your world is in mortal peril.
And how is it that you know all of this?
Because I am a god too.
If you're a god, you're one of them. Why would I do anything to help someone I've sworn to kill?
If it's vengeance you want, I'll give it to you.
Alright, the gameplay definitely looks engaging, a good mix of abilities with plenty of experimentation. I like what I'm seeing from this trailer. I haven't played Ashen before, unfortunately, so I can't offer much insight on these developers' experience, but I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on this game.
Rulers of the Greeks and the North.
Nice, I haven't played this game before, as around this time I was playing a game called StarCraft, but I do have a soft spot for RTS games, and this is a game that has a lot of cool looking units that I want to try. I'd definitely be interested in playing the single player campaign at the very least, but hopefully I'll also do some multiplayer, assuming there's a big enough player pool.
Targeting a research facility. If he attacks it, the casualties could be astronomical.
Oh, Perfect Dark Reboot. This was like, what, a Nintendo 64 era game?
It's a pleasure to meet you. I could use someone with your skills.
Gameplay looks amazing, a lot of cool mechanics beyond just your typical shoot and cover.
Everything. Before I could see. What this world was really hiding.
A science fiction conspiracy? Intriguing.
Are you all seeing this?
Once you open this door, there's no going back.
Okay, this is definitely a game I'm gonna check out. What a badass first-person spy thriller game.
I need you to give up.
No. Of course it's you. You monster. Let's go.
Someone needs to explain to Blizzard that they're supposed to be making a game, not a fucking movie. And on that note, why would I bother playing Diablo 4 when I can play Path of Exile? A game that's both free to play and also better than Diablo 4.
And the occasional giant toad, for some reason. But it's more than that. It's about the choices you make.
I'm a hero.
A Fable game that doesn't involve Peter Molyneux? Well, that's a point in its favor right there.
Life and death stuff. That's what defines you, isn't it? Really, stays with you. I knew this one hero. I took her in when she had nowhere else to go.
Where the hell's the gameplay? Do these developers not understand that they're trying to sell a game here?
Thought I'd get her out there, make the most of her gift. But you know what it's like when you're young and you have a point to prove. I tell you, this kid, she had it all. The skill, the talent, the power. She was something else, all right. She was terrifying.
Well, that was a pointless waste of time and resources. Good job, developers, for not understanding what you're supposed to be doing. Another hero shooter on the market, eh? Well, you got a lot of competition between, Valorant and Overwatch 2.
It's my turn.
You know, a game like this might actually benefit from a PvE mode, just so that you don't have to worry about balance. Okay, some interesting game design. I mean, hero shooters are not exactly my cup of tea, but still, I can see people enjoying it.
So, I have travelled back to where I grew up.
Okay, I'm digging the art style. Simple but elegant.
Home in ruins. Why hasn't my aunt taken good care of it? The bridge to her house is broken, so I can't even ask her. I will make the tree stump a cozy home again.
It looks like it's going for like a Don't Starve kind of game, mixed with maybe like a Night in the Woods kind of vibe.
And find meaning and beauty out here. Some will say that in the dead of winter, a small city mouse doesn't stand a chance. Maybe so. But I must keep believing that every winter leads to spring. Auntie, finally!
You know what? This game has potential. It's got a little bit of base building, some combat, some micromanagement, and a good plot driver. Oh, they muted the video? Oh. Well, lucky for you guys, I'm an expert lip reader, so I'll be happy to translate. Toga! Shopping cart derby is the coolest thing right now. Don't you wanna be cool? Yo bro, I'm totally cool. Totally, we're square. Oh god, I'm not high enough to be doing this right now! Crap, I forgot to lock my front door. Get out of my room! It's every man for himself! I'm gay. Ah crap, it's the popo. Damn it, I picked the wrong week to stop doing cocaine. I'm so high right now, I could go to space. I always knew I was gonna die in a horrible traffic accident. I'm just so glad I won't be dying alone. Well, I guess we now know where most of the budget for this game went to. We figured out how to defy gravity! Well, I've got no clue what this game is going to be about, but if I had to take a guess, I'd say probably a coming-of-age story involving magic, dinosaurs, and possibly a lot of drugs.
There have been noise complaints.
Okay.
I've always wondered how accurate these simulators are. Like, if I'm flying a Boeing plane, would I automatically just crash? Pursue your dream of a career in aviation by sitting in front of your computer and not actually flying a plane. Well, that's false advertising right there. The sky is absolutely the limit. It's not like you can fly into the ground or underwater or out into space. Explore our world by not actually exploring our world. I mean, hell, if I'm just gonna end up sitting in front of my computer, why can't I just use Google Earth? In all fairness, I'm sure this is actually a really good simulator, and a lot of people do enjoy these kind of games, so yeah, definitely has its audience. Wait, really? A balloon needs a simulator? What are you gonna try and simulate? The wind? I told you to stop calling me, Sky. God, why won't you take no for an answer? Oh, the video is muted again? Oh, okay. Don't worry, guys. I'm familiar with how Todd Howard writes. I got this. Hello, how are you? Goodbye. Goodbye. Good day, sir. Stop! You violated the law. Pay the court a fine or serve your sentence. Then pay with your blood. There's no problem, is there, citizen? Help! Help! I'm being attacked! Shit, it's been 10 years of this shit already? Alrighty, well, I'll just quickly put this junk where it rightfully belongs, next to the rest of his Bethesda games.
But 2 nights ago?
So by this point, I played enough Life is Strange games to have concluded that the first game was essentially a fluke. I don't believe either Deck 9 nor Donut is capable of replicating the success of the first game, simply because they just don't know how to write dialogue for relatable characters. Like, their cringy writing worked for Max because most of the dialogue was in her internal monologue, and also she was just a very socially awkward person, so it kind of played into her character a bit. But that was essentially lightning in a bottle for these guys, so yeah, no chance of them replicating it. Unless of course they start hiring some new writers. Seriously? They're making an Indiana Jones game? Well, I guess it's fair. That bitch Lara can't hog all the action, now that Nathan Drake is retired. Oh, for God's sake, show some fucking gameplay. You're not making a movie. I would say at least in terms of the tone, they've definitely captured the Indiana Jones movies, predominantly because it's just blatantly copying it. And a great circle, eh? Well, maybe that's an analogy for recycling all content, since they basically just reuse everything we've seen in movies. Oh dear. Like guys, I get that Harrison Ford is a bit too old to play Indiana Jones right now, but still, you fellas need to like move on. I get the feeling that every Gundam fan in the world has a raging hard-on right now. All it takes is like a pop star to be piloting one of those mechs, and they'll need a change of trousers, if you know what I mean. I feel like these kind of games will always devolve into like a melee fight just because it's impossible to keep track of every single projectile on a map. I mean, I got no problems with a sword fight, it's all good. Okay, the gameplay does look quite fun, I'll give it that. I hope they do add like a single player campaign mode just to A, teach the players how to pilot the mech, and B, introduce a story to add some context to the game.
Slowly consuming every little part of your humanity.
I love how instead of using a projectile weapon, we always end up going with the sword. Crossbows are for pussies like Geralt. Real badasses fight with swords. The gameplay looks absolutely awesome. Okay, so it's kind of like a Witcher game mixed with Dark Souls combat. Definitely looks like it's inspired by Chinese folklore, so I'm guessing this is going to be one of those stories where you're trying to stop yourself from becoming the very monster you're trying to kill. Wuchang, Falling Feathers. Okay, looks impressive. Definitely going to add it on my wishlist.
Emperor has chosen you as our envoy to the living lands. That wild frontier suffers.
So far pretty good. Okay, good looking.
Find the root of this terrible plague and put an end to it.
He is wrong. The dream scourge is but a symptom of a deeper, more dangerous rot.
Oh, so the story is more complicated than it first seems. Interesting.
So that those who remain standing can shape its future.
They both deceive you. There is more wonder in this world than eyes alone can see. You must open yourself to its mysteries.
It visually looks amazing.
No matter how wild. And become what the living lands truly needs. Its protector.
That looks like a cool spell, literally. Holy smokes, this game looks epic. Developed by Obsidian. Ah, there we go. That explains it. Yeah, so this game looks amazing. By Rebellion, eh? Okay. These are the guys who made Evil Genius and the Sniper Elite games.
Emergency at Windscale Atom Plant. It's not emergency, but disaster. Now the worst seems to be over.
Yeah, these guys are not great at writing dialogue, though to be fair, most of their past games involve shooting people from across the parking lot, so not a lot of talking in there. I'm not sure what this game is about. The gameplay is okay-ish. I mean, it looks like a typical Bethesda sandbox, to be honest, mixed with some gunplay. Well, the setting and the genre is absolutely confusing. I have no idea what era we're in or even what planet we're on. Like, what's going on here? Is this a light-hearted game or is it supposed to be like a dystopian future? Come on, give me something. I've got mixed feelings about this. I wouldn't say it looks promising, it looks kinda just like another Bethesda sandbox if I'm being honest.
I do not fear our enemy. They talk of peace and
Another Assassin's Creed game, this time with ninja skins. Can we all just admit that the hidden wrist blade is a very uncreative way to assassinate somebody? I mean, all you're doing is walking up to someone and stabbing them with a sharp object. Might as well just use a dagger.
There are other ways to heal. People so quick to abuse their power do not deserve to keep it.
Yeah, so I have zero faith in the Ubisoft team when it comes to writing stories. All they really are capable of is just building a big sandbox game filled with busy work and maybe throwing a few cameos from famous people. So, I don't know, maybe Miyamoto Musashi will pop in and say something generic. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world.
There is no honor in preying on the weak.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done with Assassin's Creed games. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just over it. So I know the war has gotten a lot of people worked up on both sides, but hopefully these developers will be smart enough to not put politics in their game. Like, it would be a shame if they were racist towards Russians or something. The gameplay and setting looks really good. I've always liked the idea of fighting in the ruins of a bombed out building, as opposed to like a big open field or like a linear corridor. Like this way you have more options when it comes to your tactics based on what toys and guns you're carrying. Stalker 2. Okay, interesting. I'll keep an eye on it. This is like that fight from that John Carpenter movie, They Live, where it just goes on for way too long. Like, you guys both have guns, right? How did it devolve into a fist fight? Shooting them in the head, of course! It's so simple! Why didn't I think of that before? Where the fuck are they fighting over? The center of the earth? Wait, there was someone else there the entire time? Why didn't they help? Sorry, I was trying to figure out how this gun works. I gave up. No problem, bro. I know that neither of us are saying anything, but we can communicate telepathically because that's how close we are. And also because the writers couldn't be bothered writing dialogue for burly space marines with one-dimensional personalities. Gears of War, number whatever, I'm not gonna play this game. Alrighty, so that's the Xbox Showcase. So let's see here, we got 10 games that I either really like or are interested in, 6 games that I'm kind of on the fence about, and how many is that, 14? Yep, that's right, 14 games that's just not on my wavelength at all. I'll say if I have to pick a favorite, definitely Avowed would be on the very top, and if I had to pick a worst, maybe Dragon Age, I would say. But of course, as I said in the beginning, these are only early impressions, so chances are these rankings will change once we get more information. But let me know what you guys think. Type in the comments. What were your favorites? If you think I'm insane, you know, that kind of jazz. Anywho, thanks for watching.